What is up, guys? Welcome back to Early Access Gamer. Are you tired of games that hold your hand? Today, we're diving into 15 massive worlds where your choices don't just change the dialogue, they reshape reality. From physics-defying combat to factions that remember every betrayal, we're counting down the ultimate open-world experiences that put absolute agency back in your hands. Let's jump in. Shoving a towering boss off a high cliff to his absolute doom is one of the most satisfying feelings in gaming, and Baldur's Gate 3 built an entire masterpiece around that exact kind of chaotic freedom. Released in August 2023 for PC, and landing on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S later that year, this landmark RPG adapts the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition rule set into a ridiculously reactive sandbox. The magic lies in how the world responds to your wildest ideas. Instead of just trading blows in standard turn-based combat, you are actively manipulating the environment. You can seize the high ground for massive tactical bonuses, coat a narrow choke point in grease and set it ablaze, or throw water on a crowd of enemies before blasting them with lightning. Every encounter is a puzzle where physical, gravity, and elemental chemistry are your greatest weapons, completely redefining what player agency actually means. At number 14, we are diving headfirst into the neon-drenched streets of Night City with Cyberpunk 2077. When this ambitious sci-fi RPG first dropped on December 10th, 2020, it faced some serious launch hurdles. But the redemption arc here is legendary, transforming it into a highly polished, feature-complete masterpiece where your choices actively reshape the shifting power dynamics of ruthless megacorporations and street gangs. The real magic lies in the sheer, unadulterated power fantasy of its combat. You are not just shooting your way through encounters, you are combining advanced cyberware to dash mid-air, deflecting incoming bullets with a katana, and hacking into an enemy's brain all at the same time. The level of verticality and player agency in how you dismantle your foes makes every single street brawl feel like a choreographed action movie. It is an absolute must-play for anyone craving true gameplay freedom. Stepping into the lands between for the first time remains one of the most liberating moments in gaming history, dropping players into a massive seamless world on February 25th, 2022. Elden Ring completely threw out the traditional open world checklist. Coming in at number 13, this masterpiece trusts your curiosity, letting you wander into terrifying high-level zones or discover massive underground civilizations entirely on your own terms. Your choices of which demigods to hunt down and which factions to support radically alter the fate of this broken realm. What keeps this world so captivating is the staggering build variety. If you dive into the Shadow of the Erdtree expansion, the combat options explode even further. You can slice through bosses using dual-wielded reverse grip swords, or sprout massive spectral wings mid-fight using wild new incantations for incredible mobility. It is a masterclass in giving you absolute agency over how you explore and conquer. Taking our number 12 spot is a masterpiece of wasteland survival that dropped back on October 19th, 2010. I am talking about Fallout New Vegas, a game that perfected the art of making your choices feel incredibly heavy. You play as a courier left for dead, quickly dragged into a massive three-way war for control of the Hoover Dam. What makes this desert trek so brilliant is how the world reacts to you. You can talk your way out of a war zone, sneak past armies, or just start blasting, and the complex faction system remembers every single move. But the real magic happens when you turn on hardcore mode. This completely transforms the loop, forcing you to manage hunger, thirst, sleep deprivation, and even the literal weight of your ammunition. Scavenging an abandoned gas station is no longer just a standard loot run, it is a desperate tactical fight to stay alive in a world that genuinely wants you dead. Coming in at number 11 is a masterpiece that redefined dark fantasy storytelling. Over 11 years since its debut on May 19th, 2015, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt still stands as a high watermark for open world design. What makes Geralt's journey truly legendary isn't just the branching moral choices, but how the world demands you actually roleplay as a professional monster hunter. If you crank up the difficulty, you cannot just button mash your way through a griffin encounter. Instead, the game forces you to actively study the bestiary, coat your silver blade with specific oils, brew toxic decoctions, and map out exactly which magical signs and bombs will exploit your prey's weaknesses. It transforms every single contract from a simple checklist chore into a high-stakes tactical hunt where your survival relies entirely on your preparation before the first sword is even drawn. Taking our 10th spot is a game that proved mud, sweat, and absolute realism can be incredibly addictive. Kingdom Come: Deliverance II dropped on February 4th, 2025, thrusting us back into the boots of Henry of Skalitz. What makes this medieval simulator so brilliant is how it respects your intelligence. The developers refined the notoriously brutal first-person swordplay, dropping the attack directions from 5 down to 4, and seamlessly weaving thrusts into the combo system. It feels vastly more fluid while retaining that tactical, stamina-draining intensity. Between clashes, you are navigating a living world where NPCs remember your crimes, your clothes, and your reputation. You can even lose yourself in the immersive new blacksmithing minigame to forge your own gear. Whether you solve a quest through scholarly charm, stealth, or brute force, Bohemia remembers. It is a masterclass in player agency. Scaling the back of a thrashing griffin while your custom pawns shout encouragement below encapsulates the chaotic magic of Dragon's Dogma 2. Released in March 24, this action RPG lives and breathes systemic chaos. Instead of scripted events, you get glorious, emergent physics battles. You can bait a massive ogre onto a rope bridge, chop the cables and watch him plummet, or lure a rampaging cyclops straight into a village to let the local guards do the heavy lifting. Launch wasn't entirely smooth sailing, though. Fans voiced intense frustration over severe frame rate drops and CPU bottlenecks in major cities, while other players pushed back against day one microtransactions, offering pay-to-convenience items like fast travel markers. Yet, when you are clinging to a giant beast mid-air, the sheer joy of this organic, unscripted adventure makes it easy to see why it grabbed our number 9 spot. Our 8th spot takes us directly into the irradiated, unforgiving ruins of the Chornobyl exclusion zone with Stalker 2 Heart of Chornobyl. Released in late 2024, this survival shooter takes player agency to a terrifyingly realistic level. What makes this world so incredibly captivating is that it does not revolve around you. Through the highly advanced A-Life 2.0 system, the entire ecosystem lives, breathes, and fights completely independently of your actions. You will stumble upon faction turf wars, watch mutants hunt their prey in the wild, and witness the zone reshape itself while you are just trying to manage your radiation levels and bandage a bleeding wound. Every decision you make impacts how these dynamic factions treat you, leading to vastly different branching narrative paths. It is a masterpiece of emergent gameplay where you are not some all-powerful chosen hero, but simply another desperate soul trying to survive a hostile living world. Plunging headfirst into the living lands of Eora, Avowed takes our number 7 spot by letting you wield a flintlock pistol in one hand and cast devastating magic spells with the other. Obsidian originally unleashed this fantasy RPG onto Xbox and PC in February 2025, with PlayStation 5 players joining the fray earlier this year. The game got a massive boost with its February 2026 anniversary update, which introduced New Game Plus, custom difficulty modifiers, and fresh playable races. What makes this journey so addictive is the sheer flexibility of its dual-wielding combat and the weight of your political decisions. However, it is not a completely smooth ride. Fans have frequently highlighted lingering performance optimization issues, citing annoying stuttering and frame rate drops that can disrupt the action. Even with those technical hiccups, the deep branching narrative and rich world building make this an essential adventure. Hitting our number 6 spot is Red Dead Redemption 2. Released in late 2018 on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, this masterpiece remains the gold standard for living, breathing worlds because of how it remembers your sins. If you walk into a saloon, start a massive brawl, and beat a local shopkeeper half to death, that choice does not just vanish when the law loses interest. When you return days later, that exact shopkeeper will be standing behind the counter sporting a very visible bandage or a nasty black eye, and they will openly resent you, altering prices or refusing to do business entirely. This brilliant, persistent NPC memory system turns every random outburst of violence into a permanent narrative scar. Combined with a shifting honor system, your choices actively reshape how the entire frontier reacts to Arthur Morgan, making your personal path of redemption feel entirely earned. Claiming our number 5 spot is Arcane Studios' sci-fi masterpiece, Prey. Released on May 5, 2017, this immersive sim strands you on the eerie, alien-infested space station Talos 1, and then completely hands you the keys to the sandbox. What makes this journey an absolute triumph of player agency is how it respects your intelligence. Take the legendary GLO cannon. On paper, it is just a tool to freeze hostile organisms. In reality, it is a tool of pure architectural defiance. You can shoot foam onto walls to build makeshift stairs, construct bridges over lethal hazards, and bypass locked security doors in ways the level designers never intended. Combined with alien neuromods that grant you psychic abilities, your path forward is limited only by your imagination. Whether you rescue the surviving crew or leave them to their fate, Talos 1 represents ultimate gameplay freedom. Stepping out of your spaceship to survey 1,000 worlds sounds like the ultimate sci-fi dream, but Starfield takes a very specific approach to its massive galaxy. Released in September 2023, Bethesda's space RPG lets you live out your Han Solo fantasies. However, many players felt the constant loading screens and lack of seamless travel between orbit and land put a major dampener on the immersion. To address some of these planetary traversal headaches, the Shattered Space expansion in late 2024 introduced the Rev 8 ground vehicle, which completely changed how we explore. Even better, that same expansion gave us Varun Kai, a fully handcrafted planet that swaps out the endless procedural emptiness for dense, focused storytelling. Landing at spot number 4, this is a galaxy where you can be a pirate, a merchant, or a faction leader, shaping the political balance of the settled systems on your own terms. Landing at number 3 is Divinity Original Sin 2, Larian's absolute masterpiece that set a new gold standard for RPG freedom when it launched in September 2017. Nearly 9 years later, we are still chasing the high of its absurdly reactive sandbox. This game does not just let you think outside the box, it actively rewards you for breaking the rules. The real magic is in the systemic combat. You can manipulate the environment in ways that feel like straight up cheating. Want a hilarious, devastating combo? Slap the polymorph skill Chicken Claw onto a target, pair it with the scoundrel skill Rupture Tendons, and watch in sheer delight as a giant, terrifying enemy turns into a panicked chicken, literally sprinting themselves to death from the movement damage. It is this exact level of chaotic, emergent gameplay that makes every single playthrough feel entirely unique, cementing it as one of the greatest playground RPGs ever made. Snagging our runner-up spot is a brilliant corporate satire that proves Obsidian Entertainment still reigns supreme when it comes to player agency. The Outer Worlds launched on October 25th, 2019, and it remains a masterclass in giving you the keys to the kingdom. What makes this sci-fi romp so special is how it rewards your mistakes through the brilliant flaws system, letting you take on permanent debuffs like a crippling phobia of robots in exchange for extra perk points. It actively encourages you to play a beautifully flawed character. Even better, non-combat skills like science and persuasion feed directly into firefights, meaning you can literally talk your way out of a bullet storm or leave enemies cowering in fear. Just be careful if you are picking up the 2023 Spacer's Choice Edition. While the base game is a masterpiece, gamers were highly frustrated with the remaster's terrible performance, which introduced atrocious stuttering and frame rate drops. Stick to the original. We have reached the absolute peak of player freedom, and taking the #1 spot is the brand new Gothic 1 Remake. Released just over a week ago on June 5th, 2026, this modern overhaul of the cult classic penal colony drops you into an ecosystem that does not care about your video game hero fantasies. The magic here lies in the living world. Every single NPC follows a strict daily routine of working, eating, and sleeping. You can tail a target to overhear game-changing secrets, or systematically rob a merchant blind while they are busy at their day job. It is organic emergent gameplay at its absolute best. The game has not been on a totally smooth ride since launch. Players are venting about a rough technical state, citing frequent crashes, audio bugs, and a frustrating 30 frames per second cap on consoles. There is also chatter surrounding questionable character models, particularly the female NPCs. Yet, despite those launch week bruises, the uncompromising freedom of Gothic 1 Remake secures its crown as our ultimate open world masterpiece. And that's our list for the 15 best open world games with unmatched player freedom and choices. These titles truly redefine what it means to step into a virtual sandbox and carve your own path. But I want to hear from you. What did we miss? Let us know in the comments below which games you think deserve a spot on the list. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe for more gaming content. Here are some more videos of ours you can watch. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.